Welcome to Outdrive, folks. I'm your host, Cliff Callis, and each week I'm bringing you actionable marketing insights you can apply to reach, connect with, and convert rural American consumers. Outdrive is powered by Callis, a full-service advertising agency with a focus on marketing rural America. Callis offers a wide range of integrated marketing services, including website development, search engine marketing, social media, video, and digital. We develop strategic and creative campaigns to build your brand and your business, and you can learn more about us at ecallis.com. Now join me in the front seat as we head out on the road to success. Let's go. Hey folks, welcome to Outdrive. We've got another great story to share with you today about life and work in rural America. You know, in the marketing world, storytelling is very popular right now, and they can take on a variety of different formats and styles, from social media reels to magazine articles to videos. That's what makes the Missouri State Fair's theme this year so strategic and timely. Summer's Best Story is a great way to highlight all the personal stories that everyone has of the fair, whether it's their first time there or they've been coming their whole life. Today, we have the Missouri State Fair's premier storyteller and marketing director on our podcast to talk about this year's fair. Kari Mergen has been the fair's marketing director for the past 10 years, and every year she works with our advertising agency team to create and execute their annual marketing and media campaign. In this engaging episode, Kari talks about what's new at the fair this year, marketing strategies that are being utilized to attract fairgoers, and some of the most popular shows, traditions, events, and activities. Listen in and get some tips for how to prepare for summer's best story, things to look for, and things to do right now, just about 30 days before the Missouri State Fair opens Thursday, August 8th in Sedalia. Welcome to Outdrive, Kari.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we are always happy to have you on the show. You know, we have lots to talk about. Want to certainly talk about summer's best story and your role and maybe some of the unique marketing strategies you're using as part of the campaign this year. And then always like hearing about what you love about the fair and give some other people some things to think about. But before we get into any of that, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
So I like to start off. I'm a mom of two. That's my proudest accomplishments. I have two kiddos. My son, Reed, is 21. He's a traveling welder currently in Nebraska right now. My daughter, Maddie, is 19, just finished her first semester of college. And as much as she hates to admit it, she's following in my footsteps with, she's pursuing a degree in ag media with a focusing in advertising. She's at Northwest Missouri State. And so I'm married to Matt. He's my high school sweetheart. We've been married since 2000. So we've just had our 24-year anniversary. We live just outside of Sedalia on his family farm, about 350-acre farm. Been at the fair since 2008, started as the public relations specialist, and then became the marketing director in 2014. So this will be my 10th year in this role, which seems ridiculous to say out loud.
It sounds ridiculous when you say it.
Doesn't seem like that's been that long. Yes.
No, it doesn't. And of course, we've always loved working with you. Describe the role of a marketing director for somebody who may not know what you do.
So I use the term, my official term, marketing director, but I always say I wear a lot of hats, as do a lot of the staff members here at the fair. So, in addition to marketing and advertising, my particular role also oversees the public relations and some special events and sponsorships. And marketing touches everything pretty much. I tell our superintendents and our staff, if I don't know about it, I can't market it for you. So, being in the know is probably the biggest thing that I think that I do. And I want to say that I'm a know-it-all, but that's the nature of the beast and with the job is to know what's going on at the fair so that we can adequately market it and get the word out about it. So, marketing can take on many elements from advertising to PR to all the elements that are involved, whether it's, print, radio, digital. It's an all-encompassing role, I think, that touches a lot of different aspects of the fair.
Great way to describe it. And a person wearing many hats is a good analogy. Now I'm going to put you on the spot and make you talk about yourself. What makes a good marketing director?
So I think this is kind of maybe an oxymoron, but organized flexibility. You've got to have a plan in place, which I work with your team to come up with that plan and that strategy every year. but you also have to be flexible and roll with the punches because, you never know what's going to happen, especially from a PR standpoint. And so you've got to be ready to adequately respond to things when they do happen, the good and the bad, of course. So staying organized is something that is very near and dear to my heart because you've got to have a plan and you got to try to stick to it as much as you can, but you've also got to be ready to roll with the punches. I think staying on top of trends is also good. And I really rely on your team to help me with that because, I may see something and send it and be like, is this a good idea? And maybe it is, and maybe it's not. And then just knowing that there's a lot of ways to market and trying to figure out the best way to reach your target audience is definitely something that makes you good. It's a good tool to have because there's a lot of options out there on how to best reach the public.
Oh, there's so many, and you never have enough money to spend on everything you want to do, right?
Money, time, resources, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. You mentioned team, and I think from my perspective, looking at the way that you manage your organization, you kind of have a unique challenge of you have these full-time regular marketing team members, which we know and love. And then you have this new crop of interns that come in every year. And what a phenomenal opportunity for them to really get immersed in ag marketing and event marketing and entertainment marketing. Tell us about your team this year.
So I have, as you mentioned, the two full-time staff that work for me, Sierra Monses. She started here actually as an intern and then got a full-time position straight out of college. And so she's been with us since 2016 was her intern year. And she's our public relations specialist. And then Meredith Rumsey, this will be her third fair, I believe. And she's our marketing office assistant. So they work year round side by side with me, both have various roles and literally are my right hands when it comes to all those hats that I mentioned. They put on those hats for me and help me, with different aspects of the job. And then the interns, I hire interns every year. We've done that since I started here. It's a great way to get new ideas, keep things fresh. I love their perspective on things because, sometimes they'll have been to the fair and sometimes they haven't. And so just getting their ideas and their perspectives is pretty invaluable. They're also keeping me young because, when I started here, I was the young one and now I'm not. So having them is great for me. I have 4 this year. And I look to build a team that is very diverse in their talents and their abilities. One is an ag comm major, one is a marketing major. They're new, brand new for this year. And then I have 2 that are returning, which I haven't had that since I've been doing this. And that's invaluable to me because they have some base knowledge. I can say, go see so-and-so, and they know who I'm talking about. And one is an ag business major and one is an ag comm major. So the diversity in their backgrounds and their skill sets is a great thing. Definitely not a disadvantage to me because they all bring something different to the table. And then we have that every year, different skill sets every year. And that keeps things fresh and new and just keeps us going.
But it certainly has to be a challenge to figure out how you're going to use them. I think you told me last year that they each had specific assignments or roles and responsibilities that they were in charge of. Are you doing it the same way this year?
Yes, pretty much. I would never not interview someone because they weren't an ag major. They weren't a marketing major. One of my best interns ever is a nurse right now. I mean, she became a nurse and is an amazing RN. But that's kind of what I look for. I do kind of look for those ag, PR, marketing students because that's what we do here at the fair. But then I let them talk about themselves, learn about them. I literally say, what do you want to do? And I give them the list and they pick off the list. This is what I'm most interested in doing. I also use some personality quizzes with them after they're hired to figure out where do they fall on a DISC profile or an Enneagram profile, and then take that into account whenever I assign them tasks. I joke with them. Probably one of the most stressful events that they facilitate is the opening day parade. It's hot. There's a lot of people. It's a stressful job. And so I definitely look at that personality for that position because you got to have a backbone. And so I need an intern who's got a backbone and able to make decisions on the fly, as opposed to someone who might score more, oh, I'm kind of indecisive about things, or I'm, maybe not quite so sure about myself. And so that definitely helps me formulate that team and figure out what they are going to be best at. Because I want them to succeed, of course. And so I don't want them to have a bad experience during their time here.
Well, I think that's a great approach to kind of see what they're interested in. do some personality testing so you know what they're going to be interested in and good at, and then kind of lead them down that road. If I was a young person, of course, I love the fair, but if I was a young person going to school, I would think an intern in your office would be phenomenal. If there's somebody out there that's listening, or maybe a parent of somebody that might have an interest, when do you start looking for interns, and what's the process that you go through to bring one on?
We're doing it sooner than we used to do it because college kids, it's competitive to get these internships, and most of them need one with a lot of the majors. And so we actually start publicizing that in November, and we try to interview when they're home on Christmas break. I try to have them interviewed prior to the first of the year and then offer the positions right at the first of the year. And so we post that on our social media. It's also on our website. We also push it out through all, the colleges, and try to hit the colleges. And, sometimes we'll even send it to certain departments at the different colleges around the state and try to get the word out, because we want the best, right? We want the best ones to apply for our internship. And I tell them, if you leave here, and you should be able to ace any interview when they ask you, give an example of this, because it's probably happened to you in this internship. And when you walk out the door, they need to be able to, like, oh yeah, that's the fair girl, or that's the fair guy. That's the thing that should make you stand apart, because not a lot of people have that opportunity.
No, and it is a great opportunity, and I think you do a great job of selecting them. And I've always been impressed with the quality of the interns that are working with you. You've been on the show a couple times before. This is not your first rodeo, and we always talk about the fair. So let's talk about this year's fair. Tell us about it.
So our dates are August 8 to 18. I always like to say that. I also always like to reiterate that's 11 days. I know if you do the math, the basic math there, it looks like 10. So I get hit with that a lot, but it is actually 11 if you count all of the days that are there. We're located in Sedalia, been here since 1901. A lot of people don't realize that. They'll say, where has the fair been before? It's always been in Sedalia since the first fair in 1901. This is the 122nd State Fair. So this year, we're bringing you some new stuff along with the favorites that people know and love. It's a balance to try to bring those favorites and also bring in some new stuff every year. So far, things are looking very positive. Our vendor spots are nearly full. I actually have a list of people that are wanting to get in, and working with our vendor department to try to figure out where and how we can take advantage of what they have. Our camping numbers are great. Our exhibitor numbers are good. So everything seems to be taking shape really nicely so far. We do have a new director, which has been on your program. Jason hit the ground running on January 1st as the director. So his perspective on things has been really great. He's been here a little bit longer than I have. So he has that background knowledge, and then has come on to that role as the director, and is really have a forward thinking mentality about things. And I hope that will, continue to be that way for many more years while he's at the helm.
Well, I bet it will. And of course, we always enjoyed working with Mark Wolf. He did a phenomenal job, and really his predecessors. But I have been impressed with Jason's vision for where he wants to see the fair go. I've had the opportunity to talk with him several times, and I'm excited about, the future of the Missouri State Fair, as I'm sure you are too.
Yes.
The theme this year is Summer's Best Story. I love that theme. I think it's very strategic. Where did that come from?
If you ask your staff, they would probably maybe roll their eyes first, because I really worked them hard on this one. Sometimes they come pretty easily and we're like, perfect, let's go. And then other years, man, it's a process. And so they sent me a huge list just to brainstorming ideas. Some of them we laughed about, and I was like, that's terrible. But terrible ideas can lead to great ideas. And that's kind of what happened here. And so I think it came from, we had a whole discussion about the topic of capturing and snapping, and like just kind of some trendy words out there. And then it evolved into the story concept. And story can apply to a book. It can apply to a Facebook story or Instagram story. Also, that brings in the idea of reels and TikToks and all of that, which is very much in right now. And then also it makes me think about the kid when he goes back to school. He or she goes back to school in the fall, and the teacher says, what did you do this summer? I want the fair to be fresh on their mind, and to be like, oh my gosh, this summer I went to the state fair. And so that's their story. And everybody has a fair story that goes, and it can vary from a livestock story to being a vendor, to being a concessionaire, to whatever it is, going to a concert. And so it just kind of evolved into that. We want the fair to be everyone's best summer story. What did you do this summer? I went to the fair.
I love it. Meeting your wife or your husband at the fair,
Yes.
coming back and camping in the same spot for year after year after year, or the generations that come. So you're right. And I did see just the other day you guys highlighting a family. I think it was the Reed family, and, kind of telling their story of the fair. So I think that's great. As I think about the fair, and you mentioned sort of the balance between preserving and bringing back those traditions that everybody knows and loves and looks forward to, and then adding new things in. What are some of the most popular activities each year?
I think the answer is going to vary depending on who you ask. I've learned that in this role, and I try to keep this in mind when I talk to my staff, that we tend to focus on some of the more higher profile events, the parade I mentioned earlier, or the governor's ham breakfast. Those are very high profile events that touch a lot of people. But for a fairgoer, something that we might consider a smaller event is a big deal to them. Like, that's their thing. And so that's their story. And so keeping that in mind, that answer of what's popular, it's going to vary. Popularity can be gauged by many things, whether it's just the quantity of people at the event or just whatever's near and dear to your heart. And so that's my first answer to that. My perspective of it has changed. I came here as a kid, then as a teenager, then, as a young adult. Then I had children. What was popular then completely changed for me, seeing it from what was popular to my kids. And then now working here has changed as well. So, looking at it from strictly who attends things, I'm amazed every year at the draft horse hitches. If you go to that draft horse hitch show, particularly on Saturday night, I am amazed at all the people that seek that event out. It's always very popular to see all those hitches in the Mathewson. Concerts, of course, are popular. And I've learned you never know what's going to be popular with people, because somebody says, I've never heard of them. And then the next comment on social media is, oh my God, that's my favorite artist ever. So, that popularity, you never know. But concerts are certainly a big part of that. We have the Clydesdales back this year. That's a very positive thing for the fair, and super proud of that partnership that we have. And County Distributing here in Sedalia, the local distributor, works very hard to get them here for us. I was told a 3-year cycle, but we went 2 this year. So kudos to them for pulling that off. Our daily flag ceremony has been very popular with fairgoers. We started that in 2019, where we honor a veteran for active duty military every day. That's become a very popular event. The parade, as I mentioned, is certainly popular. Drive to Feed Kids, our food drive efforts, is a very popular event that's gaining more and more traction every year. I'm proud to say that we started this 8 years ago. Our efforts have donated over 12 million meals to kids and families around the state. So I think that's pretty popular.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, again, I could go on and on about it, but it's going to vary. But those are the things that come top of mind to me for what's popular.
Those all make sense. And that's a great perspective about how, as your life changes, your interest and in the popularity of certain events to you is going to change too. Now, the Clydesdales are going to be there every day this year?
They are going to be every day. They have some rest days that they have to build into their time, but they will be on display every day. And then they'll be doing parades the majority of the days. They'll be in the opening day parade, and then they'll parade in the evenings throughout that first weekend. And then they have a little bit of a rest time throughout the Monday through Wednesday time. And then they are going to open the draft horse shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday also, and then parade after that. So yes, they'll be here every day.
That's a cool one. And particularly because they're Missouri born and raised, right?
Yes, exactly. I actually got a chance to go to Warm Springs this Christmas. That was the first time I'd ever been. And that's a great time to see them up close.
Yeah, it surely is. Well, what are some of your favorite traditions of the fair?
A lot of the things that I actually just mentioned when I say popular, the flag retreat has become probably my new favorite. It's definitely very near and dear to my heart. I totally stole the idea from another fair, which is what fair people do. Makes us very unique. So I can't take credit for the idea, but that has become a super important event to a lot of people. And so that honoring that veteran every day is it's amazing. I get goosebumps every year whenever I watch it. The hitches also, if I can make that, I love to go see those. When my kids are able to come, my son, as I mentioned, he just turned 21, and he came to the fair this past year. He came home just to go to the fair. And he walked up to me. I was working and he walked up to me in my office and he handed me a package and he was like, "Here, I bought you something." And it was honey sticks from the ag building, which was been a tradition for us. I bought him honey sticks his whole life. And so kind of turned the tables. He brought me the honey sticks this year because I was working. So that's cool. Something simple. I think they're like 25 cents a piece or something. And but every year that was my kids are like, "Let's get honey sticks. Let's get honey sticks." So those are definitely important. I also try to have a girls' night with some of my girlfriends. They'll come and we'll go to a concert or hang out to spend our evening eating and hanging out in the wine tent. Shameless plug for them. But I still try to get that in if I can, even though I'm working, is that friend time and try to find the balance between work and having some fun and seeing the event that you spend all year promoting. You want to be able to enjoy it also.
Absolutely. You need to do that. And you also look at it from a fairgoer's perspective versus the marketing director's perspective.
Exactly.
And you're right. I think each of us that you could characterize as regular fairgoers have their own traditions, based on their interests and families and their place in life. So I think that's one of the neat things about the fair is it does truly have something for everybody, regardless of your walk in life, where you're at, your age, your socioeconomic. I mean, I think it's the very best deal ever, the best value for the money with what you get to experience for one low price.
Right. Yeah, we hear a lot of feedback on that. And I hear it. I mean, I know I get it. If you want to come and do all the things, if there is extra cost to go to concerts or ride the carnival rides or, and things like that. But I also try to put it in perspective, for regular admission price is $15. And I don't know how much it is to go like to the movies now, but I mean, you spend 2 hours in a theater and you're spending $10 for the ticket. And that's not including all the other, if you get popcorn and all that. So I kind of try to put it in his perspective when I go to other places. You can come to the fair and spend all day. And that's if you come on a regular admission price day. There's a lot of deal days that you can come. And so that's always something I try to think about and try to spin it a little bit in that direction when you hear the information or hear the feedback about price.
Yeah, it's a great value. What's new at the fair? What's exciting? Because you always have new things, and it's kind of one of the good reasons to come back. But what's new at the fair this year?
I think I'm the most excited about, maybe because I'm just kind of been in charge of getting it going a little bit, is we are having a drone show. So that was something that Jason has been working on. He's wanted to do that for the last several years. And so we're working with a company to bring a drone show the first 3 nights. After the concerts, there's 200 drones that will be involved in the show. We enlisted some support of some great of our sponsors to help us with that, because I'll be honest, the drone show was not cheap. And so getting that support for that. So we've got sponsors that have come on board for that. Visit Mo took on a big chunk of that, and Visit Missouri Division of Tourism, CFM Insurance, Go Net Speed, and Department of Conservation jumped on board to help us fund that. And so I've been handed the creative process of it. So it's going to be about a 10 to 12-minute show after the concert in conjunction with the fireworks. And so they tell us you can see it. You don't have to be in the stands to see it. You're going to be able to see it on the grounds. I'm hoping maybe a little bit surrounding the grounds as well. But I'm super excited about that. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. We tried to incorporate fair scenes, all kinds of things. It was like the sky was the limit on what we could do, literally, pun intended. So I'm super excited about that. I think that'll be really cool. And I hope it's super successful. And then the goal is, next year, add more drones, more nights, and really grow that, because I think fireworks are awesome and we're still having them, but drones they're pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be able to see what they can do. We also, of course, have some new free entertainment on our stages. We try to bring back some of the favorites and then bring in some new. So you'll see some new and then also some of your favorites back on all of our free stages, the kids stage, the touchstone stage, and Superior Sleep stage. One thing that I think is going to be super cool in the kids zone, which is where the playground is, in the kids stage, on the hour, I think starting at 10:30 or 11:30, and then on the hour till the evening time, it's a bubble show. And it's literally just this display that just has these giant bubbles. And I think it's going to be some great photo ops of kids in the kids zone with those bubbles. I think it's going to be super cool and something that our entertainment department worked on to bring to the fair. It's not really a show. It's just giant bubbles. And I think what kids and adults don't love bubbles. And I'm excited to see that. We have a Best of Missouri award and sale, which is new this year. We have the Sale of Champions in the afternoon on August 17th. But before that, we are going to be honoring our carcass exhibitors. So those carcass exhibitors, those kids work hard on those animals. And so they're going to have a chance to get their awards and then also sell. They don't sell in the traditional Sale of Champions, so they'll be able to sell in that sale that morning, along with other commodity items such as our bacon and ham exhibitors. We're going to sell those at that sale. Missouri Grown is going to have a couple baskets of like Missouri Grown items, wine, cheese, award-winning wines, award-winning cheeses also are going to sell. There's 19 total lots in that sale. So the overall goal of that, it's part of the Youth and Ag Committee, is to, if you show something here at the fair, we're going to try to give you an opportunity to participate in this sale. And I think it's going to continue to grow. So just trying to get more awareness and more money for those kids and those people that are showing here at the state fair. New livestock shows. Our superintendents work hard to look at, what their exhibitors are looking for and showing and what the interest is. So we have several new livestock shows in different divisions, which is important to the story for those livestock exhibitors. Something also I think is pretty cool. Smokey Bear turns 80 this year. And so the Department of Conservation is going to have a birthday party for him on Missouri Department of Conservation Day, which is August 9th. I think he's an icon. People love to go see Smokey, whether you go see the exhibit in the conservation department or you get to see him strolling around the fairgrounds. And then one other thing that I definitely want to mention is that there is not going to be events in the State Fair Arena this year. Push that message out. And it is just the State Fair Arena. We've had a lot of miscommunication on that. So the rodeo, the bull riding, the demolition derby, and the motocross events, we will not have them this year because we are in the process of working on a new facility, indoor facility for those that will be ready in 2026. Actually going to have a groundbreaking for the new arena during the fair this year on August 15th, and the public is invited to attend that. So it's new that we're not having something, but I do think it's worth mentioning because I want to make sure people understand the reason why is because we're having progress and we're moving forward with a new state-of-the-art facility that will be air conditioned and heated. So that's good.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So lots of exciting new things coming up, and certainly the arena is something that we're all looking forward to. So we'll be sure to be there for the groundbreaking on August 15th. You mentioned concerts. Which one's selling the best?
Currently, Alabama with Restless Road is our top seller. Ludacris and Dax are right behind him. And then Warren Ziders and Wyatt Flores. Those are the top three right now.
Good. That's great. And if somebody wants to buy concert tickets, moststatefair.com.
Yes, they can go to moststatefair.com. There's a link to e-tix right there that they can purchase. Our box office is open for business for walk-up orders as well. And then they're open throughout the fair also. So you can purchase tickets on site while supplies last.
Get your tickets, folks. So the fair is less than 30 days away. What should a potential fairgoer be doing right now, other than buying concert tickets?
Right, exactly. My best advice is just plan your visit. We flood the website with all the content that we have. So I encourage people to get on the website and, figure out what day or days you want to come to the fair and really kind of plan your day. We are finalizing the daily schedules, but they'll be posted on there, the complete hour by hour schedule as soon as those are ready. And so just plan your day. Look at the special promotion days. If you can come and save some money, figure out the best days to do that and what works best for you and your family, and plan ahead. Follow us on social media. We also are plugging everything that we can through that platform. You can purchase tickets in advance for admission and carnival also. So you do that in advance of the fair. They're good any day, so you don't have to pick the day when you purchase in advance. And then, just let us know if you have questions, message us, call us. If you're trying to figure out something and you can't find the answer, reach out to us and we'd be happy to help you walk through that process.
I bet you get lots of calls.
I don't have to handle the calls. My office doesn't. We handle the emails and the social media messages, which definitely are ramping up. We get a lot of questions about a lot of things. And I like the questions because sometimes I realize, oh, hey, that answer isn't on the website or that is confusing. And so it helps us try to clear that messaging up when we can, because, we live in this. And so we just kind of become second nature to us and we don't always see it from the other side sometimes.
Yeah. Well, the positive effects of social media. Well, you mentioned the website, and of course, it's typically the hub of any marketing campaign, right? What are some other elements, maybe new strategies you're trying or things that are really working and getting some traction?
So video and digital definitely is popular. I mentioned we're doing behind the scenes reels this year and stories. And so, working on that video and digital angle certainly is popular. Leveraging our social media, keeping in mind our audience there and trying to, utilize social media in the best and the most efficient way possible. Interacting on social is also important to us, wanting, liking, loving, tagging, commenting, responding, trying not to leave people out there high and dry with their questions. We do work with cross promotions with our sponsors and other partners, trying to share messaging as much as we can to reach the most people that we can. I like the call to action approach. Plan your visit, buy your tickets now, buy in advance, save money, making it really easy for them to find the information that they're looking for and let them know this is how you do it. We're still talking about family traditions and the nostalgic side of the fair, but also looking forward to things to come. I think that's going to become a more effective strategy for us in the next few years. And then also one that, your team really works hard for me on is last year, 82% of our fairgoers surveyed said they use their phone to look at the website. And so keeping that in mind and at the forefront, I'll send your team some ideas of like, hey, can we do it this way? And they'll say, yeah, we can, but it's not going to look right when you look at it on your phone. And so trying to keep that in mind is definitely important to us.
A lot of ways to get the message out in there.
Yes, there's a lot of ways. Yeah, too many sometimes.
Sometimes too many.
Yeah.
Well, how do you evaluate your campaign? Is it the bottom line? Is it number of fairgoers? Is it ticket sales?
Attendance and ticket sales certainly is a huge thing. And that's what a lot of, our stakeholders are looking at. I'll get asked the day after the fair, how many people came to the fair? People want to know. And so attendance and ticket sales certainly is a way to analyze it. And we do look at that. The surveys that I mentioned, we do the survey after the fair. So getting that feedback is important. There's a spot in the survey to give your feedback. Type us your state, what's going on, what happened to you when you were here, good, bad. So we want to see that. We want to know what's going on. Also, the website and digital analytics that your team provides to us is certainly another way to measure and evaluate performance. And we want to make sure from a marketing standpoint that we're spending money in the best way possible to reach the most people possible. So having those analytics is certainly very important to us also.
I agree. And, I think about the statistic that I see each year that really makes me tell the story of you guys are doing such a great job is the number of people who come back every year or who come for the first time and say they're going to come back.
Yes, that's important. And we want to appeal to the first timer and give them, a snapshot of what they're going to get when they come to the fair. But we also want to remember our tried and true fairgoers because, they're the ones that are out there talking about the fair. Also, that word of mouth, we asked that on the survey, and word of mouth is an option for how did you hear about us? Because that's definitely important to us. And our fairgoers love talking about the fair. So we want them to talk about all the good things.
I want to be sensitive to time. I want to throw a couple quick things at you. Any best kept secrets about the fair?
If it was a secret, I don't want to tell you about it.
Well, don't do it then.
Yeah. So I think best kept secrets, the Family Fun Center. I always like to talk about it. You have small children, get those kids in there. There are opportunities for them to play, cool off. There's also a baby changing and nursing area. Walmart provides supplies for that. So I think that's definitely a best kept secret. Ride a tram. It's a great way to get your kids to take a nap. I can say that as a parent. Put them on a tram in the afternoon. They'll fall right asleep. It's also a good way to kind of see the fair. I think it's kind of fun. I mentioned those draft horse hitches. I think that's definitely something that people need to take advantage of and go check out because it's a super cool thing to see. Special promo days, as I mentioned also too, figure out the best way to spend your money. And I'm going to quote our new director. He says breakfast. He always talks about breakfast. Those of us that live here on the fairgrounds, which I do, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, they say. So if you can come to the fair early and hit one of our diners that serve breakfast, that's a whole new level of fair food that a lot of people don't get to experience. So if you can do that, I encourage you to get here early and try some breakfast.
I agree with that. That's one of my favorite traditions because it's a different place
It is
at 8 o'clock in the morning than it is at 8 o'clock at night.
very much so. Yeah. And, some good old fair time biscuits and gravy you can't beat it. I don't think.
No, I agree with that. Well, I always enjoy visiting with you, Kari, and you always bring great insight to our audience. And certainly people love hearing about the fair. And of course, there's a great one coming up this year, Summer's Best Story. As we wrap up today, what else would you like to share with our audience?
I just want to encourage them to plan ahead, as I mentioned, and, reach out to us if they have questions. Fair dates, August 8 to 18. We're in Sedalia, and, we'd love to see you, and we'd love to hear feedback also. Don't hesitate to reach out. We want to know about your experience and take that survey after the fair. That's very beneficial to us. So feedback is certainly important so that we can continue to make the fair better and better every year.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
I enjoyed it. Hey, if you liked the podcast today, be sure to give us a rating and review on your favorite platform. This really helps others find us and helps us to attract some other great guests like Kari Mergen. Come back again next week and I'll take you down the roads of rural America where it's heaven on earth.
Thanks for taking a ride with us on OutDrive. This episode is complete, so head on over to eCallis.com for more insight you can apply to help drive your business growth. And be sure to sign up for our free monthly e-letter, OutThink, for even more helpful content about marketing to rural America. Have a great day and keep on driving.